Hi guys and welcome to my channel. My name's Caitlin and today I'm going to show you how I wind my skeins into a ball without any equipment. I literally use no equipment at all. I just use completely just my hands and my body. When I first started out I really didn't know how to change a skein of yarn into a ball, and I had to go through a few videos and work out how other people were doing it. I know a lot of people had like some pieces of equipment but not another piece that they needed, so they were doing part by hand but part using a machine. So I just want to show you this is completely by hand, so if anybody else needs to do it by hand they know how to do it. All I'm going to be using for this is a cardboard tube and then obviously my skein of yarn. So I've used this one before, which is why it's a little bit crushed, but yeah, all I'm doing with my cardboard tube is rip a little bit at the top and then I take my skein. If you're new to knitting, you'll get your skein like this. It looks like this, all wound up together, and you'll see there's like little pieces here. So these are pieces that you want to cut, but basically if you untwist this, it's linked together at the top here. You see that? Where it unjoins. If you untwist it, there's your skein. It's in one loop, so the loop goes like this, and then these pieces here are just pieces that are tying the yarn together that I want to cut away. So let me get my scissors a moment. I try not to make this too much of a mess of this right now. If I make a tangle at this point, it's going to make it harder for me later. Let me just grab my scissors. So at the point I have it like this, I don't want to move it around too much or twist it at all if I can help it. Obviously sometimes it can't be helped, but yeah, basically from here I want to get rid of these pieces here. So obviously I would normally lay it down flat, but for the purposes of showing you, I'm just gonna cut that one there and then you can pull it away. I'm gonna lay that down flat to cut it. So that's where the end is and the start. That bit is just where it's all tied together. I'm just going to put that to one side. There is another few pieces, so a piece here as well where it's tied together, you see? It looks like it's just those three pieces that are on there, so that's fine. What I want to do from here is take my end piece. I just wrap this around my knees like this. Again, being really careful, try not to twist it too much. So I've got it on my legs like this. I take my cardboard tube and I just slot it where I made that rip, tuck it inside, out the way, and then I just start wrapping it. At the start you're just wrapping it like circular because you're just making the start part, and as I go around I just pull it like this. So I've seen people doing this using chair legs as well, so they tip upside down two chairs so they're not using their own legs. Obviously this just depends on your own mobility as well. You can see here how it's just winding up, and all I'm doing is just going round and round and round and pulling it a bit at a time, wrapping it round. I'm trying to go a little diagonal and wind it up. What I would say at this point, when you're coming to the end, I always just try and take it like this. A few times I've like pulled the wool where I'm going round and around. It does start to pull a little bit more, these like last few strands. So you just got to be a bit careful, because if you're a bit hasty then you can end up in a tangle and it's really annoying to unknot the wool. I have had instances in the past where I've maybe at this point gotten a little bit bored of winding and just kind of pulled it too quickly and been left untangling knots that really I've just created myself from rushing. So I would just say, just take your time this last bit, you're nearly there. just keep going. I'm not here to say this is the easiest method of doing things or the quickest method of doing things. I mean, it's not. The easiest and quickest would be to have the equipment, I'm sure, but if you don't have the equipment, this is not a bad way to do things, you know. You can also do this using someone else's legs if they would lend you their legs or arms. I'm sure people will lend you hands, but yeah, anytime I pull a snag or, you know, pull a bit off my leg, I just make sure I put it back. Just be mindful and careful in these last few bits. And now I have my wool on the cardboard tube, and then you just need to pull it out. Yeah, and here I have a caked ball of wool. If you know about any other methods of winding yarn, please leave a comment and let us know. Hopefully you found this a little bit helpful if you're new to knitting or you're new to sort of winding your own yarn. I don't often buy yarn that I have to wind myself because obviously the skeins of yarn are a bit more expensive than sort of acrylic yarn that's already sort of wound in a ball. So yeah, I don't tend to do a lot of winding myself, but this is the one I found that works the best, where I get the least tangles and just the quickest in general. So yeah, I hope you found this one useful, and thank you very much for watching.